So first of all, of course, congrats on receiving your offer. I think all of you guys worked really, really hard to get into your respective medical and dental schools. You all have a lot of exams, a lot of interviews and all that, so I'm glad you guys are here, and I'm sure you too. Okay, so my sharing is in two parts. The first is quite a boring admin brief, just to run you through some of the important things you have. And the second part is a bit more personal sharing. So first one is, of course, you have to meet your conditions. So some of you guys have English language requirements. So for UK GCSEs and A-levels and IB as well, it's usually accepted, but your A-level GP may not be, so you have to check your school. But usually your offer letter will say if you need. And if you need additional requirements, you can just go with IELTS and TOEFL. But do book early, like literally book right now, take out your phone and book right now if you haven't, because it takes quite some time, like a few weeks just to get a slot, and you also take some time for the results to come back. Okay, the other one is your security requirements. So I hope most of you guys have started this process. So you need the COC from the police, so just apply on the website. And if you are a citizen, you just get posted to the address. If you are a non-citizen, then you have to go to the cantonment complex for fingerprint scanning. Okay, I did this 15 minutes probably, quite fast, so don't have to worry too much about it. Okay, this is much more important, your immunization requirements. So here's a list of like the vaccines that you will need. Okay, I'll cover the last two a bit more later. But first, how do you get the proof of your immunization? Your children's health booklet. Okay, you'll know the nice book that you have. I was from SGH, so I a yellow book. You guys have different colors now. Okay, if you're more tech savvy, Health Hub, there's this part here, my health booklet. Just click on it and you get this nice vaccination history cert. And the last way is to verify with GP. So this is the most 1G way. Just go up to the GP and ask, what vaccines have I had? Okay, I want to point out two specific ones. The first one is this meningitis. So it's not part of our national immunization program, but the UK recommends that all students going to university get this. Okay, so I would recommend for you guys to get it here. So you can book a polyclinic appointment on Health Hub, and you have to pay for it. I think it's about $70. And just attend an appointment, get a jab. Okay, you can get this with the NHS for free, but it will take a while, because first you need to register with a GP clinic, and then you need to book an appointment. And yeah, if you guys don't know, the NHS is notoriously slow, so you can take maybe 2 months just to get an appointment, if you're lucky. Okay, so I recommend getting it here. The other one is the COVID. So obviously most of you guys should have your COVID vaccination by now. You need to register your vaccination to the NHS through this website. So you can just Google NHS register for a vaccine. Yeah, you bring to this website and then just get a GP appointment to verify your status, and then that will appear in NHS back. Okay, if you do not need it, because that's usually for like traveling and all that, you just need to get a notarized cert with the Singapore government. Quite simple. Okay, booster shots are provided for free. You can walk into some of them, you don't need to book an appointment, just walk in and they give you a booster shot. Sometimes you don't even track, so you can get 4 or 5. I mean, please don't do that, but I should just say that. Okay. Chest X-ray is not legally required anymore. If you're reading some outdated guide, they will tell you to get a chest X-ray, but it's actually not required anymore. So, but individual schools may need some form of proof that you are negative for TB, so just check with your Commissioner of Health. Okay, so visa, this part I'll skim quite quickly because I hope you guys already have the process through. Number one is to ensure your passport is valid, okay? Because it's linked to a passport, so make sure it's valid for first travel. CAS should be gotten, should have gotten it already. And then apply for student visa, pay the application fee, and then book an appointment at the center. Okay, the center is at Cecil Street at Tanjong Pagar, so you just need to bring your passport, okay? If you are kiasu, you can bring this stuff, like your CAS, your application form, and your bank statement. But not completely necessary. I didn't do any of it and I was fine. Unless it's otherwise stated in your form that you need it. Okay, then just wait, 40 working days. I'm pretty sure this is a lie, but that's what it says on the website, so just wait. And then, once you receive the email, just get the passport from the visa center. So it's the same place, but you don't need to book an appointment, just put the fine walk in and get the passport. Make sure you get these two things. Okay, number one is a passport and the visa vignette, which is what this would like. You'll be stuck, literally a sticker stuck on your paper, and just make sure this exists. And get immigration letter. So this letter, you need to bring it with you, like the copy itself, on the first flight that you go to the UK. And then you need to collect a BRP when you reach there. So a BRP will be usually at your school or anywhere you stated an application. You will need that letter that I mentioned just now. And this is quite important, you need a record entry. Okay, so this usually is your passport stamp. So the first time you enter UK, please go through the manual gates. Okay, Singaporeans we are allowed to go through the e-gates, but I recommend for you to go through the manual gates because you need a stamp on your visa. If you forget and you go there after 13-hour flight, you're very gone, you just walk through the e-gates, make sure you retain a flight ticket or boarding pass. Okay? I'm not sure if it works, I think it does, but my recommendation is just go through the manual gates. That's most important. Okay, don't lose your BRP. Okay, very, very, very important. Okay, you are not legally required to carry it around. If you need ID, use your IC, use your driving license. Don't carry your BRP. If you lose your BRP, just now that process, one more time, all good, samula. Okay, don't do that. Okay, so that's just my first part. So now it's my more personal sharing. So I'll just give you like 5 tips for time in the UK. Okay, the first that I have for you is to take advantage of student discounts. Okay, in the UK, students are treated very well there. You get a lot of discounts. Okay, staff are expensive in the UK, so discount really matters. Okay, first one is Singapore Airlines. Okay, I'm quite shocked that a lot of people don't know this, but there are actually student discount for Singapore Airlines. So you can just book, you can register with KrisFlyer and just verify your student status, and then you can get reduced airfares as well as 40 kg of luggage space. That is more important than the reduced airfare, honestly, because the 40 kg is a lot. And later Wilder and Nick will be talking about a lot of stuff you need to bring or not to bring. So just make sure they pack smartly, because 40 kg is not a lot. When I first went there, I exceeded by 8 kg. Yeah, and I had to take out stuff, which is very sad. Like imagine me on the floor just pulling stuff out. Yeah, not fun. So make sure that you keep it at 40 kg. Okay, some apps you need is Student Beans. These two are really nice apps. They do discounts anything from like Muji to Adidas or whatever. Yeah, just download it. Okay, train line. So this one will be mentioned quite a lot, which is your rail card. So your 1635 rail card is done by National Rail. It's not done by train line. But I recommended this app because you can do it on the app from here. So what it entitles you to is 1/3 off train fares, and if you are in London, 1/3 off underground tube fares as well. So it adds up quite a bit. Okay. And student pals is if you're interested in like culture and concerts and all that, they do like £5 or £8 like tickets, which is quite good. And too good to go. Okay, this is not student specific, but basically a lot of places do like clearance sales on a lot of things. So like you get a whole bag of like, I don't know, donuts or groceries for like £10 or even less. Yeah, so this is quite good. Okay, the second tip I have for you, virtual banking. Okay, this is not very common in Singapore, but I recommend this when you go to the UK. So get one of these, Revolut, U-Trip or Monzo. Okay, so all these will get you like a debit card basically that you can use to spend wirelessly, which is quite important because now a lot of places like London or other big cities, a lot of places don't accept cash anymore. So having a debit card is important, especially for the first 2 weeks before you set up your bank account. Because a bank account can take 2 weeks or even a month just to set up, and I don't think you want to take out coins and give them, that would be very sad. So make sure you get one of these. If you want my Revolut referral code, come from me. Okay, Wise. So Wise, this is a way to transfer large amounts of money and convert. Okay, the rates are a lot better than that of like banks. So please don't convert by DBS or UOB or whatever. That's just very, very bad rates. Do it via Wise, or you can do it through one of these as well. But I think there's a cap for this. So Wise is better because there's no cap. Okay. Number 3, study hard, play harder. Okay, quite self-explanatory. You'll be in the UK, so it's going to be quite fun. Okay, that said, please focus on your studies. Yeah, you're still in medical dental school. Don't take your studies lightly, but have fun. Okay, so this was when I went to France, like over my summer break. So a lot of airlines like Ryanair, they do like £10 tickets. It's like quite cheap, especially you think like how much it takes to come from Singapore to France. And then you get like £10 from UK to France. That's really cheap. Okay, it's even cheaper than like buses or trains in the UK. So this was in the UK, so you can travel around the UK as well. So this was in this city called Bath, and this is called Rye, I think. So a lot of very nice cities around the UK. Just travel there. You can get a real card and then just travel for much cheaper as well. Okay, culture. So this was actually the SMS UK Dinsiger, which we went to Wicked. Okay, so I don't know when they're planning that, but shout out to that. Please sign up when you can. And in London especially, there are a lot of theatres and all that, and they do like day rush tickets. So day rush ticket can get like cheap tickets for like £5 on the morning itself. So if you're on a budget and can get a ticket to one of these famous musicals or plays for £5, that's quite good. Okay, so these are museums. A lot of museums in the UK are free. So this is actually my personal favorite, the Natural History Museum in London, Kensington area. Really, really nice. And some you may have to pay. So for example, this one, this was actually an old operating theatre museum. Okay, I know it's a bit nerdy, but it's really quite fun. So you can go to these kind of places around the UK, and yeah, it's things that you won't see in Singapore. Okay, number 4, actively participate in clubs and societies. So your student union and your medical school have a lot of societies and all that, and it's, yeah, just take part in that, make friends, and don't just study. So just for context, these are the list of clubs and societies I joined. A bit overboard, I understand, and I felt it too, but you don't have to do so much. But you get to do a lot of fun things. So I went out to hike, so this was a hike near London, really, really nice views. I got to play, so this was actually a performance that we did in a homeless shelter in North London, so quite nice. I played handball for my team, so I never learned this sport before, I just went there to just try it out. And then we even took part in the national tournaments and got like a bronze medal for that, so that's really nice as well. Volunteer, so as a medical or dental student, please give back to the community. So I did this volunteer with street doctors. I think they have not outlets, I don't know what they call it, a thing at every city, every major city, so you can reach out and try. So what we do here is we give first aid training to youth at risk, so it's quite meaningful, and yeah, there are a lot of volunteering opportunities out there, especially in hospitals and medical schools. Okay, and number 5, take the effort to make and stay in touch with friends. Okay, you guys just went through orientation, I hope, and then you will have a lot more chances when you start school just to make friends. So yeah, don't be a hermit, just make sure to stay in touch with them. It's quite nice. So this was Chinese New Year, so we did like okay, we even went out to Hai-Di-Lao in London and had a very nice dinner. So it's nice because when you're away from family, especially during festive period, you can get really homesick. So it's good to have a community of friends just to make you, like, tide you through this kind of homesickness. Okay, so this was a few events throughout the year. This was a boat board that UCL did for us. So we just went on the River Thames. It was really, really, really cool. I don't know why they did it, but it was fun. Okay, this was SMS UK annual dinner. So another shout out to SMS UK's events. Yeah, go for it. They didn't pay me to do this already. And then this was another UCL thing. So basically they did a table tennis social league just for fun. So just go there, make friends, play with people. Yeah, so a lot of chances for you to make friends. Okay, and my only word left for you is enjoy. Okay, you guys have a rare opportunity that a lot of people don't get to study overseas and study medicine or dentistry, which I presume is your dream for a while. So yeah, make the most of it. Okay, and if not, I'll pass my time to Nick.
So first of all, congratulations on receiving your offers, everyone. I'm pretty sure you guys are pretty excited to be going over to the UK. So I'm Nick, I'm a year 2 medic and I'm studying in the University of Leicester. And today I'll just be sharing the experiences I've had over the past year with you guys. Anyway, I'm just gonna jump right into it. Yeah, we'll be talking about the mobile phone plan first. Yeah, there's two carriers that I recommend getting, which would be GiveGaff and Voxy. And the benefit of these is that there's no contract, so it's flexible and you guys can change your plans every month if you need. The benefit of GiveGaff is that you can order it in Singapore, and like it's free shipping also. And you also get free roaming in the EU. For Voxy, I've only heard about this recently, but you get freebies every month or something. So yeah, just like give these two a try, I guess. Honestly, do whatever you want, as long as you avoid this company known as 3. I'm pretty sure many of the students will know. Yeah, avoid at all costs, because everyone I've talked to does not have a good experience with it. Yeah, with things like overcharging or not being able to use their data. Now, for some things to bring over, aside from the important documents that India has covered just now, like your COC and your CAS, bring over some Singaporean food like laksa packets, in case you miss a taste of home. Or whatever bolsters or soft toys that you might have, because it might help the homesickness. Bolsters, they don't have it over there, so I recommend packing. What I did was that I put my stuff inside a vacuum bag, then just compressed it, and you save a lot of space. Aside from the normal clothes that you're going to use for lectures and placements, you guys also should probably bring over some thermals, because it's going to be autumn, it's going to be quite chilly. And I recommend getting heat tech from this little very niche brand called Uniqlo. Also bring over some fancy clothes for whatever formal dinners or balls that you might have. But I think this is more important for suits, because for dresses, it's quite easy to thrift. It's quite easy to get some from Depop, which is their carousel over there for clothes. Now, for some things to buy there, I highly recommend getting a drying rack, because you're going to be staying in uni accom, which means you're probably going to be familiar with this thing known as circuit laundry, which is many halls laundry provider. And as you can see, there's a 1-star rating on the App Store. That's because it's expensive and it doesn't even dry properly. So honestly, you're just wasting your money. A drying rack is quite effective because it's not very humid over there, so your clothes dry pretty quickly. And I remember at the beginning, I didn't have one of these drying racks. So it didn't dry my stuff properly, and I had to scramble to find places in my room to hang my clothes. But I had quite a bit of clothes, and in the end I kind of just dumped it on my bed and went to sleep under it. So yeah, would not recommend. And also, I'd say get a rice cooker. Very controversial opinion. I know a lot of them want to jump me for saying this. But yeah, if you have a space limitation, I just recommend getting a rice cooker over there. Because all you need it to do is cook rice, keep it warm. You don't need all the fancy features. For both of these items, you can get it at Asda and Argos, which you can probably find in many of the cities that you're studying at. Now, I'm going to be talking about meals. I highly recommend cooking as opposed to eating out, because it's much cheaper to cook. And groceries in the UK are also much cheaper than Singapore. Also, British food is notorious for being ridiculously bland, very tasteless. So who knows, you might even be able to cook better food than some restaurants. And if you want to break down, this is one of the things I cook quite often. It's a salmon rice bowl, £4.39. Yeah. You want to compare it to the restaurant price, it's £10.90. So more than half price savings. For the social life, the social aspect, the Brits are actually super friendly, they're super outgoing. So no matter how shy or introverted you are, I feel like there's no need to worry about making friends. Especially since you're in a uni setting also. So nobody knows each other, everyone's going to go out of their way to make friends. Even a quiet and introverted person like me, I was still able to find my own group of friends. Yeah, I recommend branching out as much as possible, because after all, you are in another country. So take the opportunity to meet as many new people from different cultures, other international students. There's no need to only hang around the Singaporeans, no matter how tempting it may be. But also that's not to say avoid the Singaporeans completely. You guys are all in SMS UK, you've just went through orientation, so like Intia said just now, make the effort to keep in touch. There's also things like annual dinner, it's quite fun, also free promotion, but yeah, go for that, socialize. Now, Leicester had a flat style accommodation where we shared one kitchen and we all had our own different bedrooms, and there was 4 of us in a flat. And accom life was quite fun. You have your standard stuff like parties or trees, movie nights. But there were also more unusual things that happened. I remember walking into my kitchen one day and I found a shopping cart inside. We also turned my friend's flat into a hair salon. You can see she's dyeing my hair over here. One word of advice is that your neighbors are your friends and your friends are your neighbors. So help each other as much as possible. Give away any extra food that you might have, or and maybe borrow ingredients from them if you need. So this here is actually when I had COVID in January. My friend actually cooked for me for some of the meals. So yeah, that was a shepherd's pie. It was super nice. Now, traveling outside the UK, you can do it by plane. I recommend giving Skyscanner a check, because it basically just helps you find the cheapest flights available. Yeah, and flights in Europe are much cheaper than flights in Southeast Asia. Like Singapore to Malaysia, $77. London to Ireland, £13. That's like $26. So definitely give that a try if you have the time. Or if you think the airports are too messy right now, you can try out the Eurostar, even though I haven't tried it yet. It's a bit more expensive, but it does include baggage, and it brings you directly into the city center instead of you having to take a taxi. So the price might even out eventually if you book at the right time. Yeah, you guys are it's completely normal to feel overwhelmed and homesick at first, because like you guys are going to a new country, and you might get a bit of a culture shock. Also, you'll be starting uni in like autumn and winter, and like believe me when I say winter blues is a thing. But it does get better, and personally what I found helped overcome it was keeping busy. Like join societies, talk to many different people, make friends. There'll definitely be other international students there as well, so they'll be at the same boat as you. Like talk to your OChem friends, your SNS UK friends, participate in your sing song. And yeah, you'll find like a level of relatability there. Also, cook some food, like Singaporean food, if you're missing home. We made nasi lemak one night, that's like the internationals in Leicester. And yeah, just talk to the people around you, because your flatmates, your friends, they're the people you're going to be spending the most amount of time with, almost 24/7. And if you want, you can also video call home at any time, because everyone has a phone nowadays. So yeah. In conclusion, the past year has been pretty interesting and eye-opening for me. And I'd say make the most out of your time in the UK, especially in your pre-clinical years when you have more free time. Even though the course is going to be pretty intensive, you can still have a lot of fun. And like what Intia said just now, study hard, play harder. Thank you. Passing the time to Roland now.
I have to go really quickly because we're running out of time, but I'll be a UK drill artist for every one of you. So my name is Wilden. I'm a medic from the University of Bristol, and I guess welcome to the UK. So I think from all these pictures you realize that you pick the country where the sky is always grey. So we'll just jump straight into it. What not to bring? Say do not bring your textbooks. If you can, try to get e-books instead. I brought textbooks over, especially this one, because this was my required reading. I only used it for a maximum of 2 times. During exam season, I was in the library anyway, so I had access to the physical book there. So during term time, you can use the online e-library to access your reading, the required reading, so there's no need to bring any books over. So what you should bring, I recommend you can go to like Simlin or something, Simlin Square to get a thumb drive or hard drive, and then you scan important documents in it, so your IC, passport photo, A-level results, and health documents such as your medicine prescription or your spectacle prescription for those wearing glasses. Because they do ask it for, if you want to get glasses there, they do ask for it. The next thing I recommend is to sign up for Amazon Prime. So this is the equivalent to the Shopee equivalent in the UK. You can almost buy everything on there. And there's, if you're a Prime member, you get fast 1-day delivery, and it's free shipping as well. It's free for the first 6 months if you use your student email to sign up, and it's subsequently £4 a month. And then with that, you still get Twitch Prime for the gamers, and Prime Video as well. So the next thing I recommend getting there is a good down jacket. I got mine in Singapore because I found it, there was like, travel restrictions were still on. I got mine at North Face for 80% off. But you cannot get that deal right now. I'll say get it in the UK because the temperatures are still quite bearable during the autumn months. That's what Nick said, you can survive with thermals and maybe a fleece jacket. I'll say try to get one like this, where it's like a 2-piece, so like you get the inner down jacket and a waterproof shell. So I actually brought my waterproof shell back to Singapore because Singapore is rainy. But the thing about Singapore is that the thing about the UK is that it doesn't rain like Singapore. So in Singapore you get like a huge downpour, whereas in the UK you get like an annoying drizzle that lasts for the whole day. So try also get one with like a bit of wiggle room in it, so that you can see what I did. I'm not sure you can see. I wore a fleece inside, so you can layer, and then you can remove when it gets too hot indoors. there's this material which makes the waterproof layers really expensive. It's called Gore-Tex. It's the same material they use to treat, like, fix holes in the heart. So I guess that's why it's expensive. But you can buy this thing. This thing is called a DWR. You can get it on Amazon for 10 quid, and you just spray on your jacket and it literally makes water bead off your jacket. So yeah. So the next thing, as it just said, traveling in the UK, I strongly would recommend getting a rail card. So the one that you apply for is a 16 to 25-year-old rail card. It takes a third off trade fare, and these are the prices. I know there are no Bristolians here, but to put that into perspective for me, a return trip from Bristol Temple Meads to London Paddington would cost 60 quid. With a rail card, that's 20 quid off. So you travel to London at least 4 times within 3 years, you make back the cost of your rail card, yes. And if you do a lot of travel like I do for the football, you get this. So, as Nick also said, the Brits are, oh, sorry, my bad. So another thing you can do is, if you have a Singapore driving license, you can convert it in the UK. So go to the post office, get this form called the D1, fill it up, submit the necessary documents. Within about 6 to 10 weeks, you should get it back. So as Nick said, the Brits are really, really friendly. So on your left, you can see this is my tutorial group. It's quite diverse. And on the right, this is me in Plymouth. So the guy I'm with is Daniel. Daniel's an international officer who I met in Singapore. He's a rep from the University of Plymouth. So there was this weekend where all my friends were going home. I felt like, what to do? So I decided to contact Daniel. I think Plymouth almost beat Chelsea that weekend, so they were high on confidence. So I went to Plymouth to watch the game there. So the other thing I recommend is, whatever you did in Singapore, continue doing in the UK. So for me, I did karate in Singapore, so I continued karate in Bristol. We do not have a club, but I contacted the sports officer. The sports officer said, fine, as long as you find somewhere to train, it's not my problem. Then he even paid for my trip, so I managed to stay like Hilton or something. So yeah, so I went to Sheffield, and then I just had a really good time there. So I was training with the other university, like the Polytechnic in Bristol, so that was uni. So there's also the football. This is my absolute pride and joy, the memorial ground where Bristol Rovers play. They won 4-0 last night. Up to guess. So there's also a Singaporean society that you can join at every university. I recommend that you join it to have friends outside of medicine, and it really it takes the pressure off you as well. So the last tip I have is to balance your studies. So it's important to have good time management and be very disciplined. This was the weekend before Bucks. So all these things in yellow, orange are actually my structured learning. So these are pre-recorded lectures that I do within my own time. So you just need to be very disciplined about doing them, making sure you do it on time. I still had time to train. I still can, do my self-grooming, get a haircut to look good for the competition. So yeah, it's not entirely impossible to take care of yourself, even with a busy schedule. So I think the last tip I have is also remember your motivation for why you want to study a course. It gets really stressful at times, but I think if you remember what you say in your interview, why medicine, why dentistry, you get back to the reason why you want to study a course. I think it really helps put things into perspective, and it gives you the motivation to continue. So I wish everyone all the best, and I'll be talking about